You have to ask yourself a tough question. Is the 308 Winchester finally ready for the retirement home? For generations, this cartridge was the undisputed king of the deer woods, the tactical range, and the battlefield. But looking at the ballistic data coming out right now, the landscape is shifting fast. We are seeing a new wave of modern cartridges hitting the market that offer superior aerodynamics, significantly less recoil, and a level of versatility that the old warhorse just cannot match anymore. Whether you are punching paper at 1,000 yards, tracking elk in the timber, or just looking to modernize your loadout, these next-generation rounds are making some serious noise. Today, we are heading downrange to look at 5 powerful contenders that are absolutely positioned to dethrone the legendary 308 over the next 5 years. Some of these are brand new technology, and some are sleeping giants finally waking up. But all of them mean business. Number 1. 260 Remington. Coming in at number 5, we have the 260 Remington. If you go back to 1997, this was the round that really tried to perfect the short-action game. Think of the 260 Remington as a 308 Winchester case that has been necked down to accept a 6.5mm projectile. For the precision shooter or the hunter who wants to reach out and touch something without getting beaten up by recoil, this thing is a hidden gem. Because it runs a case length of 2.035 inches, it fits perfectly into short-action rifles. That means you get a lighter platform that cycles faster than your traditional long-action setups. Where the 260 really shines is when you load it up with 120 to 140 grain projectiles. You are looking at a trajectory that is significantly flatter than the 308. If you have a 200-yard zero, you are only seeing about 7.2 inches of drop at 300 yards. That makes it absolutely surgical on deer, antelope, and even elk, if you keep your distances reasonable. The high ballistic coefficient of these bullets means they slice through the wind much better than a standard .30 caliber slug. Plus, you are dealing with 25% less felt recoil. If you are teaching a new shooter or you are just recoil sensitive, that is a massive advantage. You can push a 140 grain bullet out of the muzzle at 2,800 feet per second, carrying plenty of kinetic energy out to 400 yards. Now, the reality check. Finding boxes of 260 Remington on the shelf at a rural hardware store can be a nightmare compared to the 308. When you do find it, you are going to pay a premium, sometimes upwards of $2 or $3 a trigger pull for match-grade loads. It also struggles a bit on truly massive game like moose, where the heavy 180 grain pills of the 308 still hold the advantage. Handloaders love it, but for the factory ammo buyer, that scarcity keeps it from taking the top spot. Number 2. The 7mm 08 Remington. Number 4 is a cartridge that frankly does not get enough credit. The 7mm 08 Remington. Released back in 1980, this is another child of the 308 parent case, but this time necked down to 7mm. This is arguably one of the most balanced hunting cartridges ever designed. Ballistically, it is a sweetheart. With a 200-yard zero, a 140 grain bullet drops about 8 inches at 300 yards and 24 inches at 400. It mimics the trajectory of the 308 almost identically, but here is the kicker. It does it with about 20% less recoil. We are talking roughly 21 foot-pounds of recoil energy versus the heavier kick of the .30 cal. That reduction allows you to stay on the scope and spot your own shots, which is critical in the field. You can run bullet weights from 120 grains up to 165 grains. That covers everything from pronghorn on the plains to elk in the timber, and I would even trust it on African plains game at ethical distances. When you load up a high BC bullet like the 140 grain Nosler AccuBond, you are bucking the wind far better than a standard 165 grain 308 load. Ammo is generally decent to find, running about $1.50 to $2.50 a round. Since it is a short-action cartridge, you can carry a lightweight handy rifle that is quick to the shoulder. However, it does hit a ceiling. If you are going after the big heavyweights like grizzly or moose, the 308 can stabilize heavier 200 grain bullets that bring more mass to the target. Factory support for the 7mm 08 usually tops out at 165 grains, which limits its extreme long-range potential compared to newer designs. It is a stellar all-rounder, but it lacks that universal logistical footprint of the 308. Number 3. 300 PRC. At number 3, We are stepping up in weight class with the 300 PRC. Introduced by Hornady in 2018, this is not just a replacement. It is a total modernization of the 30 caliber Magnum concept. The 308 is a short action, but the 300 PRC utilizes a Magnum length case sitting at 2.58 inches based on the 375 Ruger architecture. This cartridge was built from the ground up to solve the problems of long-range shooting with 30 caliber projectiles. It is designed to seat those long, sleek, heavy bullets way out of the case so you do not rob powder capacity. We are talking about launching a massive 212 grain ELDX bullet at 2,860 feet per second. With a 200-yard zero, you only drop 6 inches at 300 yards. That creates a laser-flat trajectory that leaves the 308 in the dust. At 500 yards, this beast is still carrying over 2,000 foot-pounds of energy. That is legitimate stopping power for elk, moose, and dangerous game like brown bear. The trade-off, obviously, is the recoil. You are going to feel about 25 foot-pounds of energy on your shoulder. You definitely want a muzzle brake or a suppressor on this rig. Unlike the 308, which tops out around 200 grains, the PRC can stabilize projectiles up to 250 grains without seating depth issues. The downside here is the platform. You need a long-action rifle, which means a heavier gun and a longer bolt throw. Ammo is also expensive, hovering around $3 to $4 a shot, and you won't find it at every gas station. It is a powerhouse for the dedicated long-range hunter, but for the casual shooter, the cost and the kick make it less practical than the ubiquitous 308. Number 4. 6.8 Western. Coming in at number 2 is a very interesting newcomer, the 6.8 Western. Launched in 2021 by Winchester and Browning, this cartridge is trying to fix the flaws of the old 270. It is built on a short-action platform using the 270 WSM case, firing a 277 caliber bullet. The engineers optimized this case to handle long, high ballistic coefficient bullets up to 175 grains. If you look at the numbers, a 165 grain AccuBond leaving the barrel at 2970 feet per second gives you Magnum performance in a short package. You get a 6-inch drop at 300 yards with a 200-yard zero. That rivals the big Magnums, but you are dealing with recoil similar to the 308, roughly 20 foot-pounds. This makes it incredibly shootable for a round that delivers that much energy. It is lethal on elk and moose out to 500 yards, delivering over 1,800 foot-pounds of punch at that distance. Because it fits in a short action, you can build a very lightweight mountain rifle that carries like a dream, but hits like a hammer. Wind resistance is also superior to the 308 due to those modern projectile shapes. The biggest hurdle right now is adoption. Ammo is going to cost you $250 to $350 a round, and availability is still ramping up. Since it is so new, you have fewer rifle options compared to the millions of 308s out there. If you are in a remote area and lose your ammo, you are probably out of luck. But for a modern hunter wanting efficiency and power, this is a serious contender. Number 5. 6.5 Creedmoor. Creedmoor. And finally, at number 1, the cartridge that has caused more internet arguments than anything else. The 6.5 Creedmoor. Introduced by Hornady back in 2007, this round has completely stormed the industry. It is, without a doubt, the primary challenger to the 308's throne. Designed specifically to fit in short-action magazines while utilizing high ballistic coefficient bullets, the Creedmoor is an efficiency machine. It fires a 6.5mm projectile from a 1.920-inch case. Send a 140 grain ELDX downrange at 2710 feet per second, and you get an 8-inch drop at 300 yards. It stays supersonic way past 1,000 yards, flattening the trajectory and cheating the wind significantly better than the 308. The real selling point here is shootability. You are dealing with roughly 15 foot-pounds of recoil. That is 25% less kick than the 308. It allows shooters to spot their own trace and impacts, which is invaluable for long-range corrections. For deer, antelope, and elk out to 400 yards, it delivers over 1,400 foot-pounds of energy, which is plenty of medicine. Ammo is everywhere now. You can find it from $1.50 to $2.50 a round, and every major manufacturer chambers a rifle for it, from the budget Ruger American to the high-end custom rigs. Reloading is a breeze with a massive selection of bullets ranging from 90 to 156 grains. Does it have the raw mass of the 308 for bear or moose? No. The heavier 30 caliber slugs still win on sheer frontal area and weight. But for 99% of what American shooters do, the 6.5 Creedmoor offers a better experience. Its blend of accuracy, low recoil, and logistical support makes it the #1 threat to the 308 in the coming years. So there you have it. Those are our top 5 cartridges that are actively pushing the 308 Winchester toward the history books. From the surgical precision of the 6.5 Creedmoor to the raw magnum power of the 300 PRC, the technology has simply evolved. The 308 will always be a legend, but these new contenders are rewriting the rules of ballistics. Jump into the comment section below and let me know which one of these you would trust your hunt with. Are you sticking with the old school 30 cal or are you upgrading to the new ballistics? If you got value out of this breakdown, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you do not miss our next range review. Stay safe and happy shooting.